the top 3 ways to reset the pleasure pathways in your brain following porn. Now, you might ask, why do you need to do this? Well, if you struggle with focus, anxiety, depression, anger, irritability, erectile dysfunction, and sexual dysfunction of any kind, then this pathway reset is for you. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh, brain health and sex addiction recovery coach. Welcome back to another episode of Porn Brain Rewire, the podcast. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to dig into these top 3 ways for a pleasure pathway reset. This is the road. This is the yellow brick road to achieve the goals that you're looking for, to be able to stay away from porn for good, to be able to heal your brain so you can improve your mental and physical health, specifically erectile dysfunction and improved sexual satisfaction. So let's dive in. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that this podcast is part of my outreach program to help people leave porn behind and get on purpose in their lives. I have established a nonprofit organization. It is called pornbrainprevention.org. That's the website that it's at. So if you want to help me pay it forward and help children and young people never become addicted to porn, which they are at a major risk for because of the way society uses screens. But if you want to help me, please go over to pornbrainprevention.org and donate. You and I will be crusaders together. Okay, so let's dive into what are the 3 top ways you can reset your pleasure pathways. Each of these 3 ways is proven by science. If you want to know the science behind it, please go over to drtrishleigh.com. Check out the blog post of this same topic. The link is below. So, number 1, the reason I wanted you to know this is science, because you're going to be like, no way, lady, I'm not listening to you. Number 1 is complete abstinence from porn influence content, which is explicit matter or sexual media or hypersexuality, high levels of sexual stimulation of any kind. Complete abstinence. So people ask all the time, do I have to go cold turkey? Now, going cold turkey and complete abstinence, they're not the same thing. Abstinence means you stay away from anything that is depleting the dopamine in your brain and nervous system, that is creating brain dysfunction, that is at risk of pushing you back. You go complete abstinence from any of that high level stimulation that is harming you. Cold turkey means you do it without a plan. It means you do it immediately without the tools, without the technology, advanced neuroscience technology that I'm a huge proponent of, without the support. So cold turkey is very different than complete abstinence. You can do one of them, but you also can do both of them. So I would recommend complete abstinence based on the scientific studies, and not totally cold turkey, but to do it with a plan, with support, and with the strategies that are proven to be successful. So this is what we know about porn use, and especially if it is linked with compulsive masturbation, which most times it is. We know that pornography use and masturbation disrupts the pleasure pathways in your brain. We know that it basically hijacks the dopamine reward system in the midbrain and the pathways that feed forward to the frontal lobe. So, what this does is it makes you want to go back to pornography and sexuality to feel good. Dopamine is the molecule of more motivation. Unfortunately, it's insatiable. So, if it becomes linked to sexuality and to pornography, this is where your brain will go to feel good. It does it to offset stress and boredom. It is a tool that you developed a long time ago for self soothing and stimulation. So the solution is to not go back there. Cut that road off, cut those pathways off. And I often like to use an analogy of if you were cutting through your backyard to your best friend's yard. I used to do this. We had a path. Actually, the path is still there, but nobody goes over it because there's no kids anymore near my parents' house. If there's a path that leads to your best friend's house, let's say there's one over here to the right, and you have taken that path 100 times, 1,000 times. You love taking that path. What happens to that path? It becomes completely trampled down. And sometimes, if you take a path so much, actually the ground and the earth below becomes hardened. It's like rock solid dirt because you have trampled this pathway so many times. That has been what you're doing on your way back to porn, sexual stimulation, hypersexuality, maybe acting out in the real world in a variety of ways, or on the internet. It might be explicit matter, it might be porn proper, it might be porn influenced videos or other services with people, either online or in real life. All of them are roads back to dopamine that you have trampled hundreds or thousands of times. And now there's no grass there, there's no weeds there, there's just that hard dirt. Now, over here is another pathway that's never been taken. So it's completely filled with grass and there's lots of weeds coming up. So here's what we need you to do. We need you to not go down that pathway that's completely trampled ever again. Complete abstinence, but make a plan and get the support to do it. So that's going to be number one, to reset your pleasure pathways. No longer take the pathway back to artificial high levels of pleasure that you've been doing for a very long time. That leads us to number two. So if you're not going to do that, what are you going to do? It's imperative that you now start taking the path to the left. This is the healthy, excuse me, let's start that again. Over here to the left is the healthy pleasure pathways into your life, not just sexuality. That pathway to sexuality was created when you were young. You're a teenager, you find porn and masturbation. It's the thing that lights up your brain. So your pleasure pathways were hijacked, and they were hijacked towards sexuality. But now it's time to take new pleasure pathways that don't just go to sexuality, that go to a whole bunch of things, like your hobbies, like a job that fires you up, like people that you love to connect with. It's winter season. You know what just came in the mail? A pamphlet for puzzles. I've often told you that the Leigh family puzzles during the winter. So I thought it was totally awesome that this pamphlet of the puzzle company that we usually get puzzles from came today. That's because that company knows this family buys puzzles in the winter. And that's because in the winter, we're in the house more. We put a puzzle out on the dining room table, and there's a lot of people in my house. They'll come and go and they'll put the puzzle together. My husband likes to do it the most, but it's puzzle time. That's a winter hobby for the Leigh family. You figure out what your winter hobbies are. Maybe it's snowboarding. That's going to give you a ton of dopamine. Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's taking walks. Maybe it's snowshoeing. Figure it out for you. You need to create your pleasure pathways and spread it across many different facets of your life, not just sexuality. Now, of course, one of those aspects is going to be healthy intimacy and healthy sexuality with a partner. So if you don't have a partner, part of the job is to build intimacy and connect with people in the real world. Porn has been preventing you and precluding you from doing that. So now is the time to take the opportunity to meet more people, connect with them, and maybe find a person who you can move forward with healthy sexuality. We'll cross that bridge in a minute. But it's a matter of creating this healthy pleasure pathway. Now you have to start trampling that pathway. You're no longer going down the pathway towards hypersexuality. The weeds are starting to grow. Now you're taking the pathway towards all those other things of finding pleasure in your life. Restaurants you like to go to, recipes you like to make, coffee shops you like to visit, hiking spots you like to go, sunsets, beaches, mountains, streets, people. It can be simple. Round it out. It can be reading, it can be shows, it can be vacations, it can be dinners with your family, it can be literally just sitting around. Last night we sat around and we have one of those tables that also has a little fireplace in it. We had a fire for like 15 minutes. It was lovely. It can be about that. So figure out what those pathways are in your healthy pleasure pathways and start trampling them down. Now remember, anytime you go back to the old pleasure pathways towards hypersexuality, you are in fact trampling over the weeds that are growing. The more you trample over them, the less that pathway is going to grow over. That's why complete abstinence is necessary while you keep traversing the new healthy pleasure pathways back into your life. Okay, that's number two. find healthy levels of dopamine from healthy pleasure sources in your real life. Now, when it comes to intimacy and sexuality, porn has taught you that you can hit an easy button, flood your brain with dopamine, and feel good quickly. That's not how real healthy arousal happens in a sexual relationship, especially one that you've been in for 3, 5, 7, 23 years, if you know what I mean. That requires the building of arousal over time. It's more delayed gratification. Honestly, it's healthier for you. It contributes to what's called the happiness trifecta: serotonin for joy, dopamine at healthy levels for healthy pleasure, and oxytocin for that connection that you feel with a person when you've had a healthy sexual experience, not performance. When you do this, you're also going to revitalize your brain back towards healthy sexual performance and satisfaction. So if you struggle with erectile dysfunction or sexual arousal dysfunction, SAD, this is the way to resensitize your brain. So, very explicitly put, no desensitizing from explicit matter, lots of resensitizing from healthy intimacy, sexuality, and pleasure in your life. Okay, now remember, these are not my thoughts. These are the thoughts of neuroscience. Now, number 3 is neuromodulation techniques. Now, if you know me, I'm a neurofeedback provider, which is the top tier neuromodulation technique that is out there in terms of moderating and changing, modulating brain performance. Neurofeedback is advanced neuroscience technology now that can be used at home. I work with people all over the world, and you can use technology to revitalize these pleasure pathways and bring your brain out of that dopamine seeking mode into a healthier mode of calm focus and healthier baseline arousal levels. So what this does is it can help you overcome ED and SAD very quickly, because basically it's like a workout for your brain. It trains your brain to work in the healthy performance pattern and no longer go back to that unhealthy dysfunctional mode that needs porn or masturbation or hypersexuality of any kind. Now, when you do your workouts daily for your brain becomes stronger and it's easier to stay away from that high level stimulation from that old pleasure pathway. It makes it much easier to create the new pleasure pathways. That's neurofeedback, top tier neuromodulation. Now, what can you do at home if you're not in a position to go over to drtrishleigh.com and have a QEEG brain map? That's the first step in neurofeedback. Now, if you're not in a position to do that right now, what you can do at home is begin to engage in mindfulness and meditation exercises. The science on the blog post will show you that even a 3-minute mindfulness breathing and up to 13 minutes of meditation a day can help you reset those pleasure pathways. Basically, it's helping to offset the stress of the day, offset internal anxiety, which can help bring your brain pattern back towards that calm focus. It can help you to offset the fatigue of the wired and tired brain pattern. So you can do meditation by yourself, or you can find a guided meditation app. There's lots of apps and YouTube channels that can help you with meditation. Meditation is a lower level neuromodulation technique. So the way I think about it is meditation is kind of like you're going to use resistance training to get a workout. You don't have any weights, you don't have a personal trainer, but you do have your body weight, which body weight training is great. I do it all the time. A plank is body weight training. A chair pose is body weight training. This can help to invigorate the muscles and to train them to be stronger. So that's meditation and mindfulness. And you may have one that you like. They're all shown to be, all the ones out there that are popularized are shown to be effective. Neurofeedback is like having a personal trainer and having very high level advanced equipment to do your workouts with. Now, we know if you get a personal trainer and you have the proper weights and the proper techniques, and especially you have some fancy equipment, you're going to hit the muscles in a new way that can help your workouts go along faster to help you become fit. So we have neuromodulation at 2 levels: mindfulness and meditation. Lower level, entry level, won't cost you anything. And we have higher level advanced neurofeedback. If you want to learn more about that, go over to my website, but get started at least with mindfulness and meditation. If you haven't undergone or haven't engaged in or embarked on the journey of training your brain to work better using your brain, mindfulness and meditation can really crack open the door for you to realize that your brain performance pattern is at the core of a dopamine dependency and your need for porn or masturbation. It is the thing that is keeping you from your full potential. We know this from decades of science that if you started a maladaptive habit like porn and masturbation when you were young, it can change your emotional maturity and the way you move through all the subsequent stages of your life. So now's the time to kind of pick up the pieces of that puzzle, start putting them together so that you can improve your brain function, improve your emotional regulation, no need to stimulate or self soothe, improve your self regulation, control your behaviors of your mind and body, be able to manage your social relationships better so that you have not only an improved lifestyle, but an improved life. Now is the time to do it. So, go over to drtrishleigh.com. I offer a digital program for you to stay away from porn forever. In that program is also entry level neurofeedback. So actually there's 3 levels. There's mindfulness and meditation, entry level neurofeedback I teach you about in that program, top tier neurofeedback with me if you're interested in a QEEG brain map to see how your brain is performing. But this is what I want you to know. You can stay away from those unhealthy dopamine pleasure pathways that you've been using maybe for a lifetime. Now is the time to start traversing and trampling those new pathways. It might be challenging at first, but you can do it. And once you gain momentum, there's no more weeds or grass there. You then have the opportunity to take that pathway for the rest of your life, and it will be worth it. All right. If you're looking for help, go visit drtrishleigh.com. And until next time, control your brain or it'll control you.